Well, good morning, everybody. Our first map today is going to start off looking at what we saw this past weekend. And most of the action had to do with this low that kind of came out of parts of Louisiana and then throughout the day on Sunday went right over the top of North Carolina and it's exited the East Coast. This added a lot of precipitation to parts of the Southeast. And this is going to be an area, much of the Southeast, the South, the Mid-South, that's going to see a lot of wet weather, including some severe weather here midweek this week. Now, some of this, as it came over the Appalachian Mountains, did fall as snow. Very challenging forecast here, but you can see that there were some places here that picked up over 6 inches right here along parts, again, of the Appalachian Mountains. But this whole map is going to change a lot throughout this week, given the systems that are about to roll through. So early this morning, there's the low off the coast. So you can actually see the cold air advection just off the coast. I always love to see these clear coast views as the cold air comes behind it. But if I take you back to yesterday, we can take a quick look at a couple of important things. First of all, snowpack throughout the west. Not too much of a total change over what we've been presenting. We'll dig into that more tonight in the in-depth report. But very warm air for the last several days has kind of removed the snowpack from parts of Kansas. It's eroding the southern edge of it here in parts of the western Corn Belt. But all that's going to change very quickly because of lows like the one that you see here that's moving through California. And what that low is going to do is it ejects later on today coming out of parts of the southern plains. So our all hazards weather map is very busy today. We've got winter storm warnings throughout like the I-5 corridor. We got a frost watch, that's our freeze watch, for the Central Valley of California. High wind advisories throughout California, Nevada, into the Snake River Valley. And again, we're going to watch two systems, one coming in here, one ejecting here. And that's what's got this region in through here with the winter storm watch. Got a winter storm watch for the Red River Valley of the North. And winter storm warnings right here as this high pressure cell pushes the flow up against the mountains. Very strong winds will be ahead of this. And again, where we're going to see the threat for flooding is going to be right on top of where it has been in through this area. So quite busy week ahead for us. Now let's start on the snow side of this. Over the next 72 hours, again, we've got one system that is coming out here. It's going to race up and it's going to increase the chances for snow in this area. We then have a Colorado low that's going to emerge later this week and go in this direction. The first of two we'll be talking about. And you can see how much snow it's expected to deliver. Now, these systems enter into the Pacific Northwest from this direction, so the Cascades get a better chance of picking up some snow, and they need this snow quite badly. And there's some good snow coming for the Northern Rockies. But what we're going to leave out is an area in through here that has been very, very dry since the start of this new year. And this is an area that I don't expect much in the terms of precipitation over the next week or so. So let's dig into it, the high-res NAM. We're going to pick this up at 9 o'clock this morning, and we're going to watch these two systems work together. So the one to the north being forced south by the high-pressure cell, the one to the south coming out of, well, you can see here later today, on Monday evening, coming out of New Mexico, going into, Texas and Oklahoma. We're going to have to watch for some stronger storms possibly with this. But then that low emerges, goes right through the western Corn Belt here, and it meets up with the higher pressure pushing out of the Canadian prairie. So you get a pressure gradient, you get strong winds. There's going to be the risk of some ice in through this area tomorrow on Tuesday. I'll actually be in Fargo for this, so hopefully I'll be able to get in and out. But that's going to quickly change over to snow on the backside by Tuesday afternoon, and very windy conditions are expected to accompany this. A lot of heavy precip on the eastern side of this system, and it's going to move quickly through the Great Lakes by Wednesday morning and get over into Ontario and Quebec. So that's system number one, and we've kind of seen where we expect the snow out of this one. System number two, and then the third one that's going to follow it, will likely be much more potent. And this system, as you see here, by the time we get into Wednesday, will already be spreading snow out of parts of Colorado into Kansas and Nebraska. But it also is going to have a severe weather threat side to it down here. So on Wednesday, the Storm Prediction Center's looking at this part of the Red River Valley of the South through the mid-Mississippi or lower Mississippi Valley right in through here into this part of the Mid-South. And then on Thursday, large area potential storms that's going to stretch all the way from the south and southeast down here in Mississippi and Alabama all the way up into Ohio as a large warm sector opens up with this one. Now, let's talk about the total rainfall of this first. There's going to be some very heavy rains in through this area in the Tennessee Valley, possibly 1.5 to 3 inches in some places. And a lot on the backside of this is going to be snow. You notice that the areas that I mentioned that are going to stay drier will, and because no strong onshore flows coming into California, we're looking drier here as well. So let's go have a look at what today's high-res European model suggests. And so we've already seen, here we go, that's Tuesday midday, Tuesday evening, getting into the overnight hours. So that's when I expect to see the best snow here from system number 1. While that system moves toward Ontario and Quebec, okay, system number 2 is going to come out of the Four Corners states and give us just a classic Colorado low. So this is 6 p.m. Wednesday night, getting into the overnight hours, 6 a.m. Thursday morning. That time period, Wednesday night, right in through this corridor into Thursday morning, is that's where we're going to have to be watching out for those severe storms, right in through here. Then as this system moves north, spreading snow possibly through parts of Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, southern Wisconsin, maybe northern Illinois, we're going to watch out on Thursday evening for the chance of severe storms in this very large warm sector that's going to open up here. I'll show you that in a second. So that system moves through. We'll take a look at the total snow in a few moments, goes into Ontario, Quebec, and heads on out. Now at the end of this animation, the same setup, high pressure pushing down. There's going to be a system that's going to eject, watch right here, out of the Colorado Rockies. And that setup, this is next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, is our third big system in a row. And at the end of this, do you notice how better moisture is coming into the northwest? Keep that in the back of your mind in a few moments when I show you the week 2 precipitation pattern. So European model, total snowfall, there's system 1. That's the one that came through, bringing in the snow here to parts of Montana. System number 2 comes out of Colorado and spreads its snow here, possibly some locally heavy amounts right into this area. To see how much we're expecting to get, this is the probability of getting 3 inches of snow over the next 10 days. Let's step it up to 6 inches of snow over the next 10 days. So you see the 2 swaths, 1 and 2, how they're heavier snows in Ontario, Quebec, and also, of course, in the mountains out west. But remember, this is more of a northwest and northern and central Rockies setup, not the setup for the Sierra Nevada. But this is the map showing the probability of 12 inches. From here, ridge flow comes over the top, dives into the northwest. Subtropical ridge is still in place, so systems are going to roll through this. And that's why the week 2 pattern says better precip in the northwest, high pressure pushing it into parts of Montana. That's why there's above average precip there. But Colorado lows ejecting, and that's why we see this area showing up again active as we get almost to the end of this month. Complicating things right now is that the polar vortex is displaced. It's sitting here over Scandinavia. We are still trying to assess if that's really going to affect our temperature pattern, but watch how volatile the temperatures are going to be this week. This is today's high temperatures. Tomorrow, on Tuesday, getting into Wednesday. Now, this will be the time period where the big Colorado low is coming out. Large warm sector opens here. This is where we're expecting the severe weather threat to be, and it's going to press to the east on Thursday. All right. Now, this is the brief shot at colder air coming in Thursday and Friday for much of the country. But I mentioned it's brief because it's here on Friday. By Saturday and Sunday, there's a recovery. Now, take a look at this, though. I'm going to show you the whole North American view of the 5-day sliding window of temperature anomalies. Cold air that had been in the Arctic and over Siberia is now setting up throughout much of Canada. There's going to be a major competition for space across North America as this colder air sets up here, but there's still a subtropical ridge. And all while that's changing, which, by the way, remember, right in between the two is where the pattern is most active. But while all of this is changing, the La Nina, which I talk about in today's report, is letting almost completely go. The MJO may make it all the way out into the Pacific Ocean, which could start to improve moisture for California again as we finish one month and start a new one. This is going to be a busy week of forecasting. And it's not only busy here, but it's also busy in South America, where flooding rains continue to hit central Brazil. And even though Argentina is going back over drier, lack of heat stress for much of this next 7 to 8 days is in play. It's still hot again today, but it's going to start to back off. And near normal rains in Mato Grosso, we do expect there to continue to be slight harvest delays here, but they're going to make pretty good progress, I think, overall during this next week to 10 days. So I will dig back into this tonight when I land in Fargo with your new in-depth report. Until then, have a good rest of your day. Thanks.